But I had another offer with Newcastle United up the road, and I thought, well, if Villa aren't going to offer me a contract, I might as well go to Newcastle. Terrible decision.
Let's talk about Villa.
The mighty Villa.
Mate, not so mighty this year. Grealish gone. Dean Smith gone. Let's just talk about that first, mate. You give him this for Stevie?
It's a big call to go straight into this.
So this or this?
It's like this.
Yeah. こんにちは。リバプールとして19年。ボルトガレズルシェアで This is ケリーカバラちゃん。今日はですね、私の高校の親友、キャメロン・ジョーンズにお話を聞いてきました。今ね、スパークフットボールっていうオーストラリアのアカデミーを創業して、で、ディレクター今やってる、もうガチのサッカーピーポーですね。で、彼ですね、もともとプロでやってて、アストンビラに練習生として行って、ニューカッスルとかストークとかも行ってきたんで、ちょっとそこら辺のお話をしつつ、スティーブン・ジェラードのアストンビラ監督就任についていろいろお話ししました。で、今回もですね、30分話すって言って1時間20分もうサッカーだけについて話してたんで、スティービー・ジーが監督になって、こう監督キャリア話してたら、ランパードとかルーニーとか、で最後 OGS どうなのみたいな、なんかこう、いろんな話、多分その話を30分くらいしてたと思うんで、はい。今回そっちの他の監督の話はちょっとカットしてるんですけど、今回ももっと聞きたいっていう話があればコメントいただければ検討しますんで。では、見てください。Let's go! こんにちは。
こんにちは。
リバプール一筋19年。ボリトガーズ・オーストラリア This is ケニーボーイカメラちゃん。
Aston Villa, Sausage, 30 years. Born and raised on the streets of Sydney, New South Wales, Australia. Cam Jones, coming at ya.
Welcome, Cameron.
Thank you for having me, Kenny.
Yeah, mate.
YouTube sensation. What a pleasure to be on this show.
Welcome to Premier League Talk Show, mate. 30 years, Aston Villa fan.
Yeah, 30 years. This jersey behind me, that's 93, 94, I think, Coca-Cola Cup winners, actually. Wembley, Mark Bosnich,
Really?
Dwight York, Paul McGrath, Dean Saunders. Whew, what a team.
You're currently the director of Spark Football.
We're an academy based in Sydney for junior and youth players, which we focus on the individual development of the player for the team game.
Right.
So our curriculum and our methodology is very much focused on how do we build the individual player holistically, not just technically, holistically, to make them better footballers so that they can go to whatever team in the future or on the weekend and be more effective and be better footballers. So, yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, as far as I know, your mum's English?
Yeah, she was born, I can't say raised, she was there for less than a year.
Oh, really?
From Bradford, so north of England, just outside of Manchester. It was certainly in my family's blood, in my grandfather particularly.
Why, when you started following Villa 30 years ago?
I couldn't tell you why, honestly. I couldn't tell you why I started supporting the Villa. I've got no real reason outside of the fact that I just somehow resonated toward them.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the colours. I think it was the players. There was a lot of players in that particular team in the early 90s that I really liked.
You went and trained with Villa?
Yeah, so I was invited into trial for Villa just into the early 2000s. So I was actually invited in 99, I think it was, as I was finishing.
Oh, really? Was that late? You look like you were 14 in that photo.
I was 18. I was 17 years old. 17 years old when I went to Villa. I'd just been in with the Australian under-17s broader squad to go to the World Cup in 99. I didn't make the final squad, but in camp with them in preparation. And that was phenomenal generation of footballers that we produced. That particular team made the final of the under-17s World Cup, which just showed you, like, against Brazil.
Jeez.
And I think that almost went down to, I think we only just lost that final, but it just shows you the quality of players that we were producing. Most of them went on and played professional football. That was the time where I was plucked out of Australian football and invited into trialling at one of the biggest clubs in English football. I guess I think at that point being recognised as perhaps a breeding ground for big clubs in Europe to pluck someone out for free, for nothing, and potentially get a diamond in the rough. And I think that's maybe what Aston Villa looked at when they invited me over.
Then you eventually signed with Stoke.
Yeah, so I was only in at Villa on trial. I was actually invited to stay on, and
Yeah, right.
you know, one of those things in life where you look at sliding doors and you go, well, in hindsight, probably not the best decision, because I actually said no, and went up the road.
Villa's not good enough.
Yeah, I was actually impatient. I think I was wanting a contract now.
Yeah, a professional contract.
I needed someone to just go, hang on a sec, like just stay put maybe. But I had another offer with Newcastle United up the road, and I thought, well, if Villa aren't going to offer me a contract permanently, then I might as well go to Newcastle. I don't want to miss that opportunity. So I just made a call. Terrible decision, because
In
Newcastle
hindsight.
was, I'm sure the club's different now. It was just an absolute basket case up there, what was going on comparative to Villa. I actually was back and forth from the UK for, I think, 4 years.
Yeah, I remember that.
At Stoke City, I ended up lucky enough to play for in the reserves. I was in the first team, daily first team setup under Tony Pulis, so former Stoke manager, former Crystal Palace, West
Tony P,
Brom.
mate.
Yeah, just to play under some of these guys, I sort of, at the time, I didn't really appreciate it at all.
Right.
Someone like Tony Pulis with the pedigree and the record that he's now got.
Yeah.
It was less about their tactics or their training or whatever it might be at a management level. It was all about managing, inspiring, and driving players to success. And Tony was excellent at that.
Well, let's talk about Villa now.
The mighty Villa.
Mate, not so mighty this year. Grealish gone. Dean Smith gone. Let's just talk about that first, mate.
For me as a Villa fan, it's just really disappointing that it's sort of gone this way. Dean Smith, I think every Villa fan will tell you, like, he's a Villa fan. I mean, he played a massive part in transforming Jack Grealish. That whole transition of Jack Grealish happened under Dean Smith's mentorship and guidance, and he brought the good times back to Villa Park. Like, I was getting bored of Villa and so over, especially how we always just battled and struggled in the, you know, bottom half of the Premier League. Yeah. Going back down to the Championship, and then when Dean Smith came in, he brought life back to the club, and he brought good players in, and he brought a attractive way of playing. And then not only that, he then placed all of that emphasis on the academy. So the players that are coming through the academy now, phenomenal players, like talent that if these guys were playing 20 years ago in my day would have been like the best in the world. But the game has advanced so much that this is now the level that they're all playing at. Like Ramsey's a good example at Villa, like just such a talented player, now broken into the first team, playing regularly. You know, so Dean Smith put all this stuff in place. So for us as Villa fans, he brought the good times back. He got us promoted back to the Premier League. He turned Jack Grealish into a world-class player. Completely transformed the academy. It's really hard to see him go. And I don't think anyone's really necessarily happy about it, despite where we were on the table. Now we're going, well, you know, what now? But Stevie G. All right. Stevie is a nice little supplement for them to throw in once we mourn the loss of Dino.
You give him this for Stevie?
It's a big call to go straight into this.
Right. So this or this?
It's like this.
Yeah.
Like this. Will it go like that? Or will it go like this?
Yeah.
The thing is, he's not that experienced in management.
No, 3.5 years.
There you go. And Villa is a big club. And I think that for someone like Gerrard at this particular junction of his management, it's just perfect. Like to get a club like Villa who's struggling at the moment, but a big club to get into the Premier League, it's perfect for him. It's perhaps perfect for Villa at this particular time to get someone with a name like Steven Gerrard to be able to galvanise the troops and usher in a new era. And who knows, he might be a Pep type transition from player to coach in due course. We don't know. That's why I can't give it this or this or this. It's like somewhere here. I'm not a betting man, as you know, but if I was to bet on it, I'm always going to go with this. Before this, at this particular point when you ask me, and I'm going to say it's going to end up like this.
Yeah, of course. I'm not a Villa fan, but I'm probably on the same boat. So as a Liverpool fan, I'm really happy he didn't go to Newcastle. Because that's a shit show. And I think he is definitely going to eventually manage Liverpool at one stage. And if that's going to be in a crisis or if it's going to be after Klopp when things are actually stable. We don't know, but he will manage us one day. And yeah, to prep that, he definitely needs Premier League experience elsewhere with a little bit less pressure.
Yeah.
So as a Liverpool fan, I'm quite happy that he went to Villa. Because like you said, like the talent pool's there. It's a big club. Your owners seem to be screwed on, unlike the Glazers or a lot of clubs. Owners aren't really there, but Villa seem to be there. He's Mr. Liverpool, so he knows what it means to represent a big club, the tradition, the history. That's why he went to Rangers and did a phenomenal, ridiculously well there last year. Then Villa, like same kind of stature, same history, proud history, passionate fans. It's going to be exciting.
It's an interesting one for these guys who played at the highest level, like Stevie G, world class player. One of the best midfielders in the world at that particular point in time, no question. They got to pick where they go at a management level really carefully,
right?
Because you see it happen all the time. So Paul Scholes, if they go too low, it rarely works out. Like you look at Rooney at the moment, you look at Paul Scholes' attempts, and the reason why he's now back in the media is because he tried to go into the world of trying to build up from the bottom as a manager with good intent, because you're thinking, I need to learn my trade and I need to hone my craft. So I'll start from the bottom and go up. Problem is, everything that they've built as high performers, as players, their expectations, their drive, their competitiveness that got them to the level that they were at, they're not going to get that at the low level. So what you get is at a management level, you get frustrated. And you don't know how to connect necessarily as well with those players as you do top level players,
super elites,
in a big club. So this is why like Harry Kewell probably as well has battled in the lower leagues, and it's a dangerous one, because then what happens is people just think you can't coach or manage. So then before you know it, you don't even have a career in that either.
Wow. Yeah, fair enough. Interesting.
For Stevie G to go to Rangers, perfect. Like you said, big club, but realistically, he's a high chance to win the league between him or one or two other clubs, right? So you're going in with a pretty safe bet that even if you average at what you do, you're probably going to get some decent results.
No, that's true. And because Rangers hadn't won in 10 years, his expectation was to be second.
Yes, that was perfect. So this is why I'm like looking at Steven Gerrard's like management career and going, like, doors are just opening up to him perfectly at the right time. And then what'll happen is, hopefully, is a success at Villa. He'll grow and the club will go bigger. And then guess what'll happen in a few years' time? Klopp will retire. And then who's Liverpool going to go to at that point? On the assumption that Villa have been successful, that Gerrard is respected. There's only going to be one manager they're going to go for at that point, and that'll be him. Who knows? It could work that way. It may not, but certainly the way that his management career has sort of navigated and the way that it's sort of aligned to where Villa's at right now, I think is good for both him and for Villa. The hardest thing, I know this as a coach, especially when you go into team coaching, the hardest thing to manage is your style, your philosophy, and bringing that to life under the duress of getting wins.
It's true. Yeah. And you don't have much time.
You either stick to your guns, and you keep persisting through it, knowing that eventually it'll work. But the pressure of the club and the board and everyone else is going to kill that probably before you get through it, right? So you don't have that at Rangers because you can build your philosophy and your approach and your style whilst probably still maintaining the results. And to your point, didn't have any expectations because they hadn't won it for a decade because they'd stuffed the whole club up. So I'm guessing he's had the opportunity to really think and refine his style and his approach, that he now goes to Villa really confident with that and whatever that looks like. And that might be a nice defensive base and keeping clean sheets and then building from there. I don't know. I don't know what it is yet. But I think that his time at Rangers should have really set him up for what's to happen next with Villa, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.